This particular video is for a gentleman that's rebuilding the stuffer pivots on his, I think it's a BB 9040, but he had kind of a failure on the other side. And he was asking how you shim. There's shims, stacks of shims in here on both sides. He was asking how you shim these. And basically, I get this side's not nearly as crucial as the other side, but I shim this arm until this roller is riding directly centered on your crank. The other side is a little more crucial. This side, you know, and that's the nice thing on the BB 960s up to the 9080s, this shaft was a lot smaller, not nearly as heavy duty, so they'd wear these bushings out quite a bit easier, and these arms would kind of move back and forth. But regardless, if it's shimmed correctly, you're probably not going to have any issues. But if you run into basically an issue of you can't quite get the shim correct, I would overhang off the outside of this one shim's worth, or half a shim, or, you know, if you can't get it correct. You don't want it inside, especially on the other side. I always have it outside just a little bit. I wouldn't want it inside, I would want it outside just a little bit by half a shim, you know, and you're talking 20 thousandths. But on this side is the side that will cause you a major wreck if these are shimmed incorrectly. And the Baler that I had the issue with, this bolt backed out a little bit and allowed this roller to come off. It slid in and it started riding, instead of riding on this flat spot, it started riding up on this edge right here, and it ended up breaking the edge of the end of this crank pivot arm off. So this one, I always shim to where that roller is about 10 to 15 thousandths off the outside edge. And that gives me plenty of room in there to where I know that will never roll up on that lip right there. So that'll never cause a failure. But this gentleman's having to rebuild this. He had some issues and he was wondering how to shim that. So that's how I shim that. And you just change your shimming. I mean, there's a ton of shims on the inside and outside of that, and you may have to put this on and off 10 times to get your shimming correct. But this one, I don't really have that issue because I just count how many shims I take off and leave the ones on the inside on there. But if you're completely replacing all this, that's the way you would shim that correctly.